Hey, what's happening everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we are reviewing a fingerprint scanner lock. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this was sent out by the company itself and they wanted me to review it, so I was pretty interested. It's a fingerprint lock and it does work. It's pretty cool if you ask me. And the whole point of a lock is of course to keep your stuff safe so nobody can actually get into it. So I already told them that I'm going to be doing some testing on this thing. So yeah, let's go ahead and see if this thing is worth its money. Because the price point is around $60 or so. The correct number will be somewhere over here. So here is what we are dealing with. Basically you get this wire gauge right here where you lock your stuff. The whole body is made out of aluminum. I've used it a couple times at the gym and it was actually pretty useful. After a good workout, it's probably annoying to actually fiddle around with the padlock and unlock your locker. So this thing can come really handy. You simply put your fingerprint on it and it works just as intended. So of course this thing has a built-in battery, and if you go ahead and take a look at the underside of this thing, it's got a Type-C charging port. Over here you got these buttons where you can actually set your configurations, so you can go ahead and add another fingerprint by pressing that button. That will flash, you give it the admin password, which is whatever fingerprint you actually have set to begin with, so you go ahead and put that in. It unlocks it of course. And at the same time I have already set these two fingers. And if I try on my left thumb, we can see that it does not work because I have not registered yet. So to register it, you want to press this button right here. It will start flashing, give it the access thumb, and then you go ahead and press it 10 times until it tells you okay. So you can want to move your thumb just a bit here and there, and you'll end up with a registered thumb. So right now I should be able to unlock my thumb just like that. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it does work fairly well about 95% of the time. You just got to make sure you have the right positioning when you actually unlock it. Otherwise, you're going to have a pretty good success rate, and it's not terrible. It does take about a second to unlock, but that's fine. Definitely way faster than actually having a padlock. But anyways, the way this works is actually you have this thing right here, and once you put it down here, there's a button under it that will trigger. Press it, and it will lock it up. Now, on the manual, they claim 2,500 to 3,000 lock and unlock cycles, so it should take a while before you actually have to recharge it. And since the battery here is so small, it shouldn't take more than half an hour to charge it to 100%, so you should be good in terms of battery life. Now, how reliable is it in terms of blocking theft? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So the first test will be just like at the beginning of the video, where I try to pry it out with my fingers. So let's go ahead and give it a try. As you guys can see, it's not going anywhere. So the first test, it passes. The next test would be to actually break it from the main point. Now in my experience, these type of locks, their main breaking point is not the actual chain or the gauge wire. Instead, it's actually the main locking mechanism, because sometimes you have a little metal piece that's trying to hold the whole thing together, and usually it's pretty easy to break with your bare hands. At least for me. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to see if I can actually break it with my fingers. And you can see that it's actually giving, but so far it has not given up. It's doing well. Let's see if it still works. Yep, still works. Now I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's slightly bent at the tip here. So let's go ahead and give it one more try. So I have actually given a lot of give, and there it goes. It actually broke. It has broken completely free. Now, is the mechanism broken? It seems like the lock is still there, but let's see what's going on here. So what happened here was actually able to push the locking mechanism out with sheer force. Since it is a motor with a gearbox, it's not going to be able to handle all that pressure, but for the amount of pressure I had to do, it has held up pretty well. Alright, so for you, it was like 2 seconds. For me, it was like a day or two. I actually went to the gym and reused this thing as it is from when I actually bent it and kind of broke it. Now, did I break it? Not really. The only thing that was actually broken would probably be this little rubber piece that's supposed to block out dust and water and whatnot. I kind of broke it when I was actually forcing it out. And basically, nothing broke. The only thing that happened last time was when I was pushing onto it, I pushed the motor away and it opened up. So that was pretty much it. Now again, the first two tests were using my hands. The next two tests, we're going to be using our tools and seeing if we can damage this thing and see if we can break it. I'm going to be going for something that is more practical, not going to be anything crazy, because any lock can be broken into really. And here's a clip of the actual wire right here. It does lock your locker. There's no leeway. It works just as intended. So anyways, this is something I have already discovered and I've already tested out, and basically you can actually unscrew this part by simply rotating it. Now, is it practical to actually do so? Not really, because you gotta remember, this is locked into your gym locker and it's not gonna open up because you gotta twist the whole thing, and that's almost pretty much impossible. You can twist this whole thing and take it out, but only if it is actually unlocked. Not a practical method. Yes, you can actually untwist this with a pair of pliers. The initial twist is very hard. It's probably using Loctite or something, but you can see that I'm twisting a whole lot and it's very hard, and it's taking a while. So this is not a way that someone is going to break into your locker. And the last thing to try out here is see if anyone can vandalize your lock. And that would be to see if you can actually scratch the fingerprint scanner and stop it from working. So let's try it. Here's a quarter. And we're putting a lot of force here. and it looks pretty okay. So let's give it a try. Yep, opens up just fine. Let's give it one more hard try. All right, we're scratching the top layer off. And, oh, it seems like it stopped working. Yep. It has completely stopped working. It does not want to turn on at all. So that's kind of unfortunate. So yeah, there you go. This is the first time I see a fingerprint scanner actually killing the whole entire system. It is not working at all. Even the set button here is not working. Nothing. Oh, something's coming up, but nothing at all. It's not even beeping. It has completely ceased to work. So it did take a lot of force to actually scratch it with my coin. It took a lot of force actually. But in the end, it failed because of a simple scratch. This whole thing stopped working. It doesn't even try to scan my fingerprint. It doesn't try to do anything at all. And that's unfortunate and not very secure, alongside being able to bend it with your bare fingers and opening the lock. So let's give that one more try here and see if we can open it. Yeah, I did feel the motor moving a bit here. And yep, there you go. It came out. Now I have to say this part is pretty strong, so it hasn't broken yet like some other cheap locks. But yeah, it stopped working, and that's not cool. Now the other question is, how strong is the barbed wire? Well, one way to find out, and that would be to use a regular pair of pliers and see if you can open it. I guess you can grab some shears and break them, but the shears are a bit much if you're bringing it to a gym or whatnot. So it does take some force. So far it looks like I've only broken the plastic part. And these are a cheap pair of pliers from the doll store, so yep, it still survives. And let's go ahead and try one more thing by tearing it down and giving you guys the conclusion. Now I am trying my best to actually open it up, but it's actually very hard. I don't have the right tools. So anyways, the conclusion. What do I think about this thing? Is it worth the money? And should you get it? Well, first of all, there's not a whole lot of places that you can actually buy this thing, but other than that, it is around $60 or so, I believe. And so far, my time with this thing has been pretty pleasant. In fact, it was quite great. I can just walk up to my locker, put my fingerprint, unlock it, get a drink, take my towel, whatnot, put stuff back in the locker real quick, and lock it up and go do my thing. And I could do that constantly without having to waste any time. It literally takes seconds, and you open it up, and you're good to go. And that's a pretty nice experience. And the Type-C port here is pretty nice. It's kind of future-proof. And overall, the build quality of the actual body feels pretty good. And in my opinion, the two main issues of this thing that can be improved or have to be fixed completely, one would be the actual locking mechanism. It needs a much stronger one because I was able to bend it and break it out with my bare hands. And I was able to bend and open up the actual motor lock. That stops this thing from coming out. The second issue would be that the actual fingerprint scanner, if you actually try hard enough to scratch it with a regular coin, it will stop working completely. At least in my case, it has ceased to work. It's almost like it was shorting out or something. So anyways guys, that is actually pretty much for this video. If you are interested in this thing, I'll leave links for it in the description below. And thanks to FlippyLocked for sending this out for review. Thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone.